All right, hello everybody. Let's hop over here to the drawing. So I'm pretty happy with where we got to yesterday. But there's a couple changes I want to make. Oops, wrong tool. There's a couple changes I want to make. I don't like how these earrings came out. Kind of like weird and curved and lopsided. And the other thing is, I'm thinking to handle how kind of weird her hands being. Actually having it, let's see, where's my... I keep it here. Maybe even having the, side of the pool, the edge of it, come here to about... where her thumb would be. And then instead of doing so detailed of a hand, just actually having it, let me erase all this nonsense. Just actually having the palm of the hand, or rather the, let's see, if she's... then yeah, the thumb's gonna be on like the outside here. That rest there, and then the rest of her hand kind of just go off the edge. It seems kind of lazy, but just like, I was thinking about it, and it's like every attempt I was making to draw the hand, and it just seems like it'd be more, like in this position, actually kind of even natural to just allow her hand to sort of fall off the edge of it there. Which, if I'm gonna have that edge kind of circle in that way, I may even want to bring in this inner edge a bit more. Just to kind of match the angle of it, really. Yeah, maybe we could do something like that. There we go. No, it does kind of branch off a little too, diverges a little too abruptly. There we go. And actually can maybe even have this be a bit more like that. Let's see how I feel about that. Yeah, I like that a bit more. Oh my. Go. Yeah, right. I'm pretty happy with that. Gonna go ahead and start inking this. Actually, you know what? Should I? Well, I should see where her legs kind of fall into the water. It should be somewhere about here. Yeah, right. Alright, now let's do inking. Let's start with... the leg here. Let's get her arm. That down there a bit. Um, you know, her middle finger is almost a little too long. I want to kind of get that same proportionality, just a little. Yeah. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Honestly, could be a little thicker. There you go, like that a bit more. Thumb's a little big. Rid of that there. Have this come down a bit more there. Yeah, maybe I just need to make the other thumb bigger. And honestly, I should have it. I'm gonna go along here, and then you get a bit of a, just a little bit of a fat bump there, where the thickness of her leg kind of hangs off over the edge there. Oops. Hold on. This ain't right there. Uh, the lowest line on the strap should be coming down here. So then the higher part of it should be kind of hugging her waist. There we go. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. Actually, that should maybe even be lower down here. Ah, man, I love this soundtrack. You know, I don't know if I really want to line this or if I want to handle it with color. I mean, I guess I can always color over the line. Make it like a really thin one. Let's see. Hey, welcome back, Nick. How you doing? I'm just outlining our girl Sunny here. Spent pretty good, man. I found out I can stream my PC to my laptop and even my 3DS. Spent last night playing Melee and Kirby Air Ride from my 3DS. Nice. Add out a bit more there. Let's see. That part can be a bit thicker. Oh, hold on. Let's get the outlines of these first before I kind of make them a single unified unit. Oh, you know what? I forgot to redraw her earrings. Let's see, how did I want to do that? Like... This one. Could be a little bigger. The insane thing is Dolphin actually has built-in stereoscopic 3D support and it works with the 3DS. Wow. Why does it have that? Well, I guess it would if it does a lot of stuff with like the Wii. That's alright. I'll go with that. Inks, there we go. That curve out a bit more. So it could be related to that, or just because. Well, it seems weird that they would just, like, on a whim, just throw it in because they felt like it. Unless there was, like, some sort of out there, like, game or something. It's a little finicky when it comes to camera-based shadows, since it essentially emulates two slightly different cameras to achieve the effect, but other than that, works. There. Cut off right there. You see that Luigi? Did you see the Luigi's Mansion message? That's most likely why. Oh no, I must have missed that. Let's see. GameCube was originally going to support 3D through certain TVs that did it. Luigi's Mansion was supposedly playable in full 3D during development. Never really panned out though. Huh. So how would that work on the GameCube? Like, so what would it have been? Or am I failing to understand what stereoscopic is? Because I was thinking similar to like motion controls. Is that not it? Or is stereoscopic when it was doing kind of the faux 3D through the 3DS? I mean, it's not exactly faux, it is 3D, it's, it does it through tracking your eyes. 3D is what the 3DS screen uses. Okay, that was failure in my understanding. There we go. Interesting that they would have attempted that. It almost doesn't make as much sense the way the 3DS did it, to do it on a TV screen Because especially like back then, the way like game consoles kind of were is that they were sort of a everyone gather around sort of family and friends event sort of thing. Whereas like it makes a lot more sense to do that with a handheld console because that's like a personal, I'm playing like a single player game, have it right up to my face thing where that makes more sense. It is interesting to see like how many ideas that they eventually tried out were actually like in the works and being planned for like decades before. Stereoscopic equals 2 visuals. It literally means 2 images. That makes sense, yeah. And superimposes them in such a way that the eye interprets it as 3D. Just a really cool illusion. Let's see. I kind of wonder what's really like left for like game consoles. There's like not much more that a game console can really do anymore other than like I guess improve its like graphics and processing power. It's not really going to evolve much as far as like new gimmicks or something, so like you're kind of left wondering if like Nintendo for their next console is gonna make it so that it plugs like directly into your spine or something. You're just transported into the video game world. You know, if Nintendo made like a console that like plugs into your spine, it would be called like the Spine-tendo or something. And you know there'd be people, like immediately people would be like, I'm not letting Nintendo plug a game console into my spine. But then like right next to that, you'd have people who are immediately like, dude, it's like the next innovation in gaming. I would pay $1,000 for this. I think Nintendo was just fiddling with existing tech, not making their own 3D TV. They existed, but I believe they used special glasses to achieve the effect similar to 3D movies. Ah, okay. So that wouldn't necessarily have been 3D. My new gimmick idea was to make the whole face of the controller and all the buttons into screens. Still tactile buttons, but with changeable values. That's interesting. I don't know if you have to use like a whole like screen in the sense of like an LED screen. You could just use like a small bit display, like something you'd see in like a watch or other such displays, like on a radio in a car, and just have that like change its values or something. Like it would be really expensive. Well, it may not be too expensive if what you do. No, that wouldn't work. I was gonna suggest that like what you do is that the screen extends underneath like the whole console and underneath like where the buttons go, but then like how do you press the buttons? What's activating the mechanism? There's a lot you could do with it though. Show HUD from the game, convey secret info to just one player, implement whole games that take place entirely on the face of the controller. Yeah, but like making the buttons specifically the screen, if I read that right, whole face of the controller and all the buttons into screens. Like the face of the controller, sure, is similar to like the Wii U, but like the buttons themselves, I'm not too sure on. Oh man, I'm getting like out of control with her hair line values here, just because like some of them ended up thicker than others. Like, yeah, just like let's thin these out a bit. They don't need to be this thick. That's fine, that's fine. That's not fine there. All right. Let's just go ahead and go ahead with like the 41 thickness I've got here for this. Dude, on the new Spintendo console, Mario plays you. There exists screen buttons already in keyboards. Yeah, I guess so. I would worry about, like, the effect that would, amongst other things, but, like, that would kind of have on the price of the console. I mean, consoles just as they are right now are already more expensive than I can ever afford. That's the biggest issue, really, price and durability. Yeah. Oh god, especially if like one of the button screens break. This would be like, I don't know, I think that would be like a big risk with like families with children, because like the children, you know how they're going to be roughhousing, they're going to be throwing the controllers around. They don't give a shit how rough they're being with like anything expensive, so they're just going to like smash the controller screen buttons. Let's see how I feel about all this here. Yeah, this is probably the most like bulbous and orbular Sunny's boobs have ever been. I never really do them as like big circles. I usually have like a lot of weight to them. Where do the line weights feel off? They really feel off here. I think this line could be a bit thicker. Maybe not that thick. You know, maybe not that one shouldn't be that thick either. Just a little bit thicker, really. Fits the style, though. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm literally parodying the Sunny Miami animation from Pixar where they censored themselves they were censored by the Chinese communists to remove Sony's tits. The Chi-Coms are taking the tits away, man. God, I say that like I'm joking and I'm not being like 100% serious, though. I think the Knick-Knack Girl is actually referred to as Sunny by wikis or something. Ain't that crazy? That's something. That, you know, I'm thinking that animation had to have had like some kind of secret subconscious effect on me as a child, and then I ended up drawing Sunny. There we go. Picking that out. Maybe just a little bit here. I remember we watched it one time and you went, whoa, that's a whole lot of Sunny. Sounds like something I would have said. Would it be more? I think you also said that time that it might have subconsciously inspired you to make Sunny. Probably. I believe it would have an effect like that. You know, something's just a bit off. You need to redraw your Lakin character as the snowman next. Ah, fuck. Maybe I could just add that into this one. Let me see. I'm trying to think of how he would even look as like a snowman. Where I should even put him. Let me look up what that snowman looks like. Hold on. If he had like stick arms or what exactly all that looked like. Let's see. Okay, so his arms are like made out of... Yeah, he's very bulbous. He's actually only got like one... I'm thinking the way I should handle this. That would just be a bit of an awkward angle, though. But if I move... Hold on, if I move all of this over... So, like, here... Why is it... There we go. I could put Lakin's head right here. It's really weird that, like, I've got this version of myself, but I see it in, like, the third person. So he almost embodies, like, his own character that's separate from... Like, despite representing me, he's almost his own character with his own independent, like, personality and everything. Now, hold on. I want his elbow right here. And the only reason he's got like hands and an elbow right now is just because he's in like a snowman body. Yeah, it creates this really weird effect where like I refer to myself in the third person of like this character who's still me. But anyway, yeah, well, I'll have Lakin here. Wait, read a few messages up. Put him in the snow globe pressed against the glass with big eyes like in the short. Well, I kind of wanted him just like down here, like he finally, like he made it and he's just like... Although he didn't really make it to her in the short. Oh no, that's kind of sad now. I mean, I guess he did end up with the the mermaid girl. Well, I want to expand, just to add Lakin into it. I'm going to expand the canvas a little bit. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to do it the way I planned on doing it. So Lakin's elbows are about here. Hand here. And yeah, let's put his head in there so that way I can kind of space it out a bit. God, lately I've just been getting this, like, this bizarre urge to... I had this idea, like, a while back, but it was never something that, like, stuck out too much to me as, like, something I really felt like I needed to do. But lately I've just been getting this urge to... There's this, kind of, like, motion comic type thing. Almost similar to, like, how I handle, like, Questern or, like, other such kind of projects in the past. But, like something like that with, like, Lakin and Sunny, and just go over, like, just, like, finally, like, all the story lore ideas I've had with these characters for a while, just, like, finally put them into a codified, solid thing. His elbow should maybe even be a bit more down. Hold on. Harold and George called it a flipperama. It's basically just like a web comic with animations. But this one, unlike Questern, I was just gonna, like, do this entirely in, like, Godot. Because I wanted to be able to, like, manipulate a lot more things about it. Oh, not that far out. There we go, there. Not quite that much. Hold on. But yeah, I'd like to... I don't want to just, like, draw Sunny as just, like, a character I draw and then post pictures of her on Twitter and then that's it. Like, I'd like to have her, like, as a character with, like, stories and games and such that I do things with. You know, I wasn't thinking of making it so long that I would even need to serialize it. I just wanted to do, like, just kind of go over, like, the origins of, like, Lakin and Sunny sort of meeting. Which would be very weird territory for me to get in, because then it would be, like, a very kind of romantic, love story-oriented kind of thing, which I don't do a lot of. Could be cool to do one per sister, though. That would be pretty cool. I hadn't even thought about... I mean, I wanted to involve, like, a bunch of different things with, like, the sisters in different games and stuff, but, like, yeah, I really want to start establishing this stuff. It's like I've just been holding on to, like, ideas in my head and just not putting them out there, and it's always... That's been a chronic problem with me my entire life. Hold on. But then, like, from there, I could start, like, just branching out into all sort of... Like, I'd like to just make a whole series of stuff with Sunny. I love her so much. I just want her to, like, be in things. Nothing wrong with that, just don't half-ass it. One of my biggest complaints with Naruto is that it clearly implies a romance, but Kishimoto gets too embarrassed writing romance, so it falls flat. Yeah, I was not... I had places to go with it, although I don't think I'd ever half-ass it. I just don't know if I'd execute it well. That's the thing. It's like, I'd put my all into it, but like, she's a beautiful character. It's just, I don't know how well I'd handle it, you know? Like, my biggest fear with it is that it would come out and the common sentiment would be like, this is like the most embarrassing, cringy shit ever written. And it would just follow me for the rest of my life. As if I'm not, like, embarrassing and cringy enough on my own, you know? Romance is like any other story, needs to follow logically and have conflicts that naturally arise from the characters and are resolved in a sensible, satisfying way. Well, we'll see. I mean, I want to get to it, but there's also, like, a lot of other stuff I gotta... There's a lot of things I have to take care of first. I wish I could, like, just jump into it right now. But that's too often also been a problem with me, where it's like, I get excited with, like, the immediate novelty of, like, one idea, and I drop whatever I was working on previously, and then the other thing never gets finished. And so it's like, I need to make sure I'm finishing everything I start, really. I also don't want it to, like... This is going to be a weird hyper-specific kind of thing with me, is like, I don't want it to fall into, like, anime tropes, really, although it probably will. Like, I grew up too much on anime for it not to, like, show up in some form or another, whether I realize it or not. But, like, what I mean is, like, I really hate it, like, characters... I hate it when the joke is just that, like, a character is perverted and that's it. Instead of there being, like a sensible, like, setup or something. But it actually wouldn't be, like, too jokey of a comic. Because I did just mostly want it to, like, follow the budding relationship between Sunny and Laken when they first meet. I made a whole post about how my ROM hack was continuing into 2025 and how I wanted it to be done already, and it's now 2026. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I really need to find a way to get myself into, like, a comfortable place that I can just start working on anything I want to work on, where I'm not scrambling and stressing about, like, how am I gonna pay rent this month? Or where I'm not doing a job that's so taxing that I'm left crushed and defeated at the end of the day. Oh god, how much did I draw on the line later? Nope, okay, I'm good. So that way, when I come home, I feel energetic and, like, ready to get to work, and I don't, like, I don't just, like, fall over dead. Yeah, I get that. I think one of the better moments with that sort of pervert joke is FMA when Ed accidentally sees Winry changing. I'm trying to recall what specifically that would be. Mainly because it occurs interestingly and leads to somewhere interesting, since it's the start of a bunch of characters who haven't seen each other. I'm thinking that's, like, a kind of joke that maybe works... Even though I've seen it, like, time and time and time again, I think it works more for, like, Japanese culture and Japanese sensibilities, because there's so much of, like, a emphasis placed on, like, they get so, they're a much more conservative people, so they get very embarrassed about, like, such invasions of privacy. even if it was like a total accident. Like here's like a trope I hate. I hate the trope of like guy walks in on girl, she's half dressed, and instead of there being like, because like imagine that in America, like the normal reaction is like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, leaves room, and then everyone kind of just like laughs about it because it was like an embarrassing misunderstanding. But in Japan it becomes a thing where like the guy is so stun locked he can't stop looking away, and then the girl overreacts and then beats the shit out of him. And it's like I'd rather avoid that. But I wasn't planning on it. I wasn't planning on it being like too jokey of a thing of a comic. So I don't know how many tropes it fall into. And again, it's like I'm not a good judge of my own writing ability. So who's to say that by the time I ever like actually get around to making it and draw it and write it and everything, that when it comes out, people just aren't like, oh, this is so embarrassing and weird. Evangelion had an interesting subversion of that with Shinji and Rei. Yeah, I think it's interesting when anime does like a subversion of it. There's another instance I can think of in Trigun where it's like it's set up for like a joke like that. Actually, they do kind of play it off as a joke, but at the same time, you get a bit of a look at a character where it's not a man walking in on a woman, it's one of the two female leads walks in on our main character, Vash, and she actually like sees like his whole like his back and everything, and he's endured like a lot of, like he's scarred all over, his body's really messed up, he's got like a metal plate on his back, and that has a lot to do with like his character and kind of what he's endured through the course of his life. And then it cuts to him getting like really embarrassed about it. I gotta watch more Trigun. I watched like 1 or 2 episodes with you and really enjoyed it. It's really good. It's a classic. Although it's been a good long while since I've actually watched it myself. I wonder how many... Sometimes I wonder if there's like an anime I watched that I just forgot I even watched it. And I've probably watched enough of them, especially in like high school, to a point where it's like I've probably got some in there that I've just completely forgotten what the hell they were even about and what happened in them. I think the big thing to keep yourself going on projects is the small goals. The big goal is in your head. If you sit down and tackle a big goal, like I was kind of thinking and planning on how I would go about like pacing this project out, like how I would handle kind of building it sort of piece by piece. And I mean, it'd be real simple, and like especially if I use Godot, the coding wise, that part will be really simple. So it's really the big challenge with it would be animation and writing, drawing wise. So it would be more of an art project than it ever would be a coding project. So that, to me, that's actually a bit of an alleviation, where like coding usually ends up seeming like the more daunting thing to me. You know, if I can imagine something, I can at least attempt to draw it. I might have some like frustrations on the way there of like figuring out how to draw it, but I can draw it. I can just like conjure the thing. Coding can get like really esoteric, and it's like if something doesn't work, it's not just like, well, how do I go about that? It's like, oh, I broke everything. That, and if you're tired, do it tired. Really enjoy Godot. I think the one thing I'd really like to see improve with it is the handling of inheritance. I want to do Java type shit where I can make something implement 2 interfaces. Let's see. I don't know, if I attempt to do something like... I guess it depends on what kind of tired you're talking about. If I try to do something tired, I start accidentally, like, fucking it up if I'm, like, falling asleep. Versus, like, if you're talking about, like, exhausted, it's like a state of, like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. Like, yeah, you should push through that. Let's see. But yeah, I'd like to do something... I'd like to do something more with Sunny than just, like, drawing, like, sexy pictures of her and then posting them online. Too many artists online, I think, get very comfortable... And, I mean, there's some people where that's just, like, their niche and they're just perfectly happy with that. But then, like, some people, I think, just get too comfortable with, like... They're just gonna keep drawing... that they know they can keep, like, bringing in their views just drawing sexy pictures of them, and maybe they've got something else in mind, but they almost kind of keep putting it off for the sake of kind of the faster, easier thing to do with it. And frankly, maybe that means I should actually do more of it, because I really haven't been drawing enough Sunny lately. But I wouldn't want her to be resigned to that. Like, I'd like there to be a bit of a character and a story to her. I agree, I don't enjoy OCs unless it's an OC that is created with a purpose that will at some point fulfill. Yeah, not that I can say myself I've done a very good job of that, so, like, I don't... You know, anyone who has done exactly what I'm describing, in a sense, is actually much more the successful artist, both financially and artistically, than I am. But my intentions are to take her further. You at least have a fun-ass demo with Sunny. When I go... I'm not even gonna say if, it's when I go back to that game, I'm gonna remake it from the ground up, because kind of where I'm at coding-wise, especially with Godot, is I understand it a lot better now, and I would do things completely differently than how I'd set it up, and I'd also spend a bit more time kind of like sitting down and designing how I want characters balanced a lot more in that, because that probably was like the biggest thing that kind of stopped that game was, I kept changing how the balancing worked so much, to a point where it's like one version of the demo would be so completely different from another that it was hard to tell like how it should even function. Also, another thing I learned is like another big problem with the game is I spent a lot of time trying to optimize the physics of it, because there'd be so many objects on screen that it would start to lag like really bad. And I learned later that there's actually a plugin you can get for Godot that optimizes a lot of the physics for you, that it's like really recommended you use for any Godot physics anything. And so I'd make sure I'd get that and use that going into it. Oh shit, really? I might want that at some point. Yeah, I forget what it's called though, but I want to say it's like Thunder something. But it makes handling like a lot of on-screen objects and a lot of physics objects at one time very, very simple. Supposedly. I haven't used it myself, but that was what was recommended to me. Let's go ahead and adjust the size down to 20. Let's see there. There we go. That looks kind of funky. Was it Jolt Physics? Yes, that's it. That was the thing I was recommended. I think there also might be like a newer version or something different that might work better. because it's been a while since I looked at that, so. But yeah, you can get physics plugins for Godot that can boost its performance. And also, like, the other reason I would want to remake it from scratch is when I updated to like the newest version of Godot, which isn't even the newest version now. It was like the newest version like months ago, and then I tried reopening the project and just literally everything in it broke, and it was like, oh, this is like unsalvageable. God, how do I want to handle... I think I just want to do that background entirely in color. I don't want to like outline the edge of this here, really. Also, if you've never played Link's Awakening, I highly recommend the DX version on Game Boy Color. Funny thing, I actually meant to talk to you about that, is I have been playing Link's Awakening DX on Game Boy Color, on a legit Game Boy Color that I own and is in my possession. Certainly. One of the good uses of AI I found recently is when there's something on the tip of my tongue, doesn't always work, but sometimes does the trick. Yeah, it could be good at like grabbing stuff out of the ether. Let's go up to 40 again. That was the big issue with Marty. I made it in Game Maker for that GB jam and couldn't run it in browser. Oof. Yeah, it seems like no matter what engine you're using, making anything run in browser always comes with like unexpected headaches. At least that's been my experience anytime I've taken anything from the debug version to the browser version, which is actually kind of a useful thing in Godot too, is that they have like a version of their debugger that runs it as a browser project, so you can actually see like how your web browser sort of handles it. Link's Awakening is so good. My one piece of advice is to make sure you try weird shit when you have a character following you. You only get one chance. Well, I'm pretty far into it, and I may have already missed a lot of opportunities. I know she comments a lot on a lot of the things I did. I remember she would comment on me like killing things, I think. She'd get like real excited about it. There's one really important one left, at least. Directly. There's one really important one. I don't know. I'm up to like the 7th dungeon. I'm almost at the end of the game, I think. Oh, some of the photos you can only get with certain followers. Oh. I probably missed a lot of those too. I may not have explored as much as I should have when I had certain followers. How do I feel about this? Let's put sketches together into one group. It's a little unbalanced at the bottom here because we got Lakin down here, and so it creates this verticality, which I'm fine with for the sake of the scene, but I feel like I need to do something with the space up here, and I may just do that with like the background or something. Not verticality, diagonality is what I was thinking of. Me neither. 7th dungeon, huh? I think you would have already passed the one I'm thinking of. If you're thinking of, what's her name? Marin? I may have missed a lot with her. I didn't realize my time with her would be so short. All right, let's start coloring. Yeah, I feel like she could actually use one more thing of like her hair. Yeah, but I don't know, that wouldn't read too well. I think my music stopped. Oh, I actually came to the end of it. I want to put on something, but I don't know what I should put on because I fear that it would accidentally irritate YouTube again. And so I may just loop this one again. Let's play this from the beginning. There we go. All right. Two, three. But yeah, I had this idea to do like a Sunny sort of motion comic thing because I felt very, very particularly inspired one night. Like one of those lightning bolt moments where like shit's just running through your head and you're like, oh, I gotta do that. Yeah, all right, let's do color. Let's actually real quick, one last, maybe just want to do a line here just to get that edge there. I don't know, now my lines I feel are kind of a little unbalanced. Like some of them could be a little thicker still. Just like match up, or just to meet certain weights of other lines. Like that. Alright, that's pretty alright. And I feel like this arm, the lines could be thickened out a bit more too. Go. Howdy. Hey, hello, Alpha Frantic. How you doing? Uploading stuff. That's cool. What are you uploading? Let's see here. There we go. I like that a lot more. Playthrough of game Bowl on Newgrounds. That sounds familiar. I'll have to check that out. Bowl. Hold on, let me look that up. No, I don't think I actually am familiar with it. It was made for Pixel Day, very green. Nice. Make that a little thicker, along with this one. Like, and you gotta put some kind of Underwheels reference in the BRB screens. Shit, you're right. Oh my fucking god. Ah. But like, it can't just be Underwheels. It has to be like an edit of like Asgore driving towards like something, either driving towards like the stream or like trying to run over like a good deal on something. I don't know, like just something else is edited over Sans.